my question to you, all of you, is I will just ask you to respond in 60 seconds. You always plan for resilience, whether it was the COVID, the first, what we can say, big supply chain problem that you had. Then you had the Russian-Ukraine war. And the third, you had the Iran or the Middle East war. So my question to all of you was, how prepared you were for all these, and which one was the toughest? To start with, Romaji.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Pravinji, for having me here and share my experiences among this distinguished people. So, COVID was the toughest, of course, because there were a lot of challenges, along with the logistics disruptions also. And but we had our risk and mitigation team ready with contingencies also, so we could do well. And we did. We are working. I am from Eastmen Chemicals. We are an MSME, and we are into manufacturing of metallic salts. And working with all the MNCs, some of them are here also across the globe. So we had to complete all the deliveries on time, and we had to fulfill their requirements. So we were quite organized, and we were ready. And this time, definitely, we are not very reactive, but definitely, as here it is written, react, create, and innovate. I would say it is more on proactiveness, like we are now proactive, that's what I can say. And we are definitely having a lot of risk mitigation. Thank you.
So, yeah, hello everyone, good morning. I think the biggest insight over these last several years has been that each disruption is different in itself. So it's not that you can prepare based on what happened in the last disruption and still assume that things will be fine in the next disruption. So everything has been unique, from COVID to the Suez Canal crisis to the situation, the geopolitics situation, which got compounded with the West Asia war this year. Sometimes things that we seemingly do not think about become a problem. So we said, in our sourcing, let's say this is how we want to do our sourcing, this percentage is contracts, this percentage is spot. And just emphasizing with an example, we did, for a commodity like methanol, 2 contracts. Both of them, incidentally, we did not pay too much attention to, shipped via the Strait of Hormuz, and both of them declared a force majeure when this situation occurred. So despite planning and trying to diversify, trying to have multiple suppliers, mix of spot and contracts, there will still be an issue which comes up which you did not, a scenario that you did not plan for. I think even when the Hormuz thing happened, not just us, but when we spoke to large petrochemical majors, everybody was planning for a max 2 weeks scenario by which all of this will again open up, and there'll be global pressure to get things back in line. Now that that has not happened, I think that is one more learning that has come for us to act on. But I think 3 core things remain. So the first one is, wherever it is a single point risk, it could be a single customer, single supplier, single region, single lane dependency, all of that you definitely need to de-risk, and you never know when the problem comes from or where the problem comes from. So that is part 1. Part 2 is, the higher the visibility that you have, even if there is a disruption, you are able to act in time. So digitization and using all the tools that are available, and continuously every year there is, upgradation in the available technology. That is what is helping us at least get back on track sooner than before. And then the third thing is realizing that it's the customers who also value both resilience and reliability. So over the long term, customers don't remember who gave them the lowest cost. Customers remember who was able to fulfill their demand at a time of crisis, who was there with them and to support them, when times were tough. So sort of also incorporating that into your strategy, not always aiming for the lowest cost, but aiming to be a reliable supply source. I think those have been the
Raviji, your
insights.
thoughts?
Thanks, Praveen, for this invitation and to be part. It's my privilege to be part of this forum, and it's been my third or fourth time I'm here. Uh, Disruption is a new normal for supply chain professionals, be it the COVID crisis, be it the Suez Canal crisis, Panama Canal crisis, or the Ukraine war, or even the West Asia crisis. To talk specifically which one was more difficult or which was more easy, I think there's no straight answer because each disruption brings its own challenges. Like to talk of COVID, COVID in our case, it sort of, in the phase one of COVID, the first wave, what we call, it actually put a different threat in front of us. Rather, we also got an opportunity there. Like generally, we do almost 80 to 85% of our petrochemical sales in domestic market. But when the COVID one struck and there was a national lockdown, we had to switch over the entire sales pattern from 80-85% domestic to 80-85% exports. So that brought its own set of challenges. But we could successfully do that. When it comes to, say, the Suez Canal crisis, it impacted our entire feedstock movement. Because we moved material, feedstock of ethane all the way from Houston to Dahej. And obviously the lead time from Houston to Dahej increased substantially because we had to go all the way through the Cape of Good Hope. And that brought its own set of challenges. So for supply chain professionals, every single disruption brings its own set of challenges as well as opportunity. But in our experience, what we have seen is that remaining agile, being resilient, and having an end-to-end visibility, and having a very collaborative approach with our stakeholders and partners, especially vendor partners, that actually makes a difference. That's what I would like to sum up. Thank you.
Anantji, your views?
Yeah, I fully agree with Ravikumar ji. The supply chain has changed quite a lot, and now every year we are facing some of the disruptions in some way. And starting from COVID, we have seen that in many ways. In your list, we have missed one more disruption, which was a Texas freeze, where entire petrochemical sector got that heat across the globe. And again, but I would certainly say that the COVID one was the biggest one, where the uncertainty level was very, very high, and it was more of a people who were affected, and that's why it was a bigger thing. I must say that how you respond and your resilience is the most important thing when you are dealing with any disruptions. How you are set up. I think we can't react to any crisis at the time of crisis. How better prepared you are before the crisis defines your sustainability, and in that particular mode, at Lubrizol, we are in more than 100 countries. Our plants are there, our offices are there. Even our manufacturing setup is quite spread out, and that has really helped us in responding to these difficult situations in a much better way. And again, it's all about partnership with the customers, how whenever in terms of crisis, how you respond to them, how you support them, that makes you a winner or a loser. So, but yeah, supply chain has always faced, and recently we are facing every day something of the other. As earlier as a recent issue in drivers unavailability within the country because of the higher wages and all of that. So it's everyday disruption which we are facing.
Devarajan?
Thanks, first of all, for the panel invitation and also for this very important discussion on supply chain resilience and risk mitigation. And thanks for that question to start with. For me personally, as a professional from the procurement fraternity, if I look at in retrospect those challenges that you described, be it COVID, be it the Russia-Ukraine war or the ongoing West Asia crisis, which was the biggest challenge, the question that you asked. First, I would definitely say that as a professional, the most disruptive scenario in my experience was, of course, with COVID, right? Because it threw up a challenge where most of us were left blank. I would like to give an analogy of a kid or a person trying to learn a new language. The moment you try to learn a new language, you have to de-accelerate yourself into the most slowest pace to figure out how to now learn this whole new element of learning a language. And that's exactly what happened with me and the others during that first impact of COVID. You suddenly had to put a break in the way you look at life, in the way you look at the whole element of driving operational performance. Apart from the COVID and the rest of the disruptions which happened, one foundational element which I think most of us have accepted and started implementing it is the agility to adapt. I personally feel those challenges has given us the opportunity to go through a behavioral shift where we are now talking about agility to adapt, which means you need to completely control, alt, delete what you did earlier or yesterday, which may not be the right mantra for today. And do you have that behavioral shift to accept that and figure out the unknown is the key element that I think came up in this whole experience. And I must thank and use this opportunity to thank my supplier partners whom we collaborated with in a partnership environment to navigate this unknown. I think this whole aspect of complementing strengths, leveraging strengths of the ecosystem to navigate the unknown has also been one of the foundational shifts that we are going through. So to summarize, I would like to re-emphasize that the key element of learning of this challenge that came up has been the agility to adapt.
Vishalji, for you the question would be different because in case of turbulence, I would call it a turbulence, how does Chemexcil tries to smoothen the overall supply chain? Because for some it is a feedstock and for some it is the final product. So how do you manage it and so that the overall trade doesn't get affected? Because you take care of India's export in different, which is the chemical part. So how do you manage the whole thing that the overall trade is always on a rise?
Yeah, thank you, Praveen. See, at Chemexcil, we always believe in that every crisis comes with the opportunity. So when such crisis arises, like for example, the West Asia, if you talk to me, I mean, I'm just taking the summaries from my fellow speakers. The COVID, and if you talk about the West Asia, I would say the West Asia crisis were more challenging because one day I got up and got SOS from the member exporters that there are 45,000 containers had been dumped at the Sri Lankan port in Fort Major. That was the a difficult time for the Indian trade, but we took it on a war footing level, and with the customs, with the for External Affairs Ministry, DGFT, Chemexcil, we within 3 days we smoothened that trade and made sure that every container to reach their destination. If you talk about the trade, see, our objective is to always maximize the trade from the country. Income what may trade ko nahi girne dena hai, that is the motto and mantra we follow. And we believe the resilience is fine, but we need to optimize the entire ecosystem of the supply chain. In that post Asia, West Asia war crisis, we understood that we need to store or keep our products in those respective markets. So government has introduced a flow scheme, that is facilitation of logistics and warehousing. See, if we have to counter China and import our or maximize our trade, then we have to think like China. I just give you a small example to you all. Our order to shipment delivery time is 25 to 30 days. Correct me if I'm wrong. Roughly that time. The China has 48 hours ka delivery time. And they are always winning because they have minimal delivery time because they are presented in that market. So what we are doing under that scheme, we are setting up warehouses for chemical industry in those potential markets so that especially the MSME, they will be closer to their buyers. And also we are integrating the technology AIs and all so that you can real time, you can track the inventory, your shipments. Also, not only the warehouses, if I will do only warehouses, the entire project will die. So what we are doing, we are creating the entire ecosystem, your multimodal transfer facilities, investment in the port, then, buyer linkages, fulfillment centers, documentation, policy relaxation, all those things we are doing because so that the trade could improve. Today we are monitoring a trade of 30 billions from India. Our target is to make it 60 billion by 2030. And we are committed to do whatever is required. And we are working towards that and happy to share that we have already identified 30 locations globally and in next 3 years time, Chemexcil will set up 30 warehouses and fulfillment centers in those markets. This year in the phase 1, we are doing 10 warehouses where the chemical, our members or chemical industry, they can use those facilities at subsidized rate from the government side and keep their products so that they will be more closer to their buyers. It will be, you will get the time advantage, the industry will get the time advantage, delivery advantage. And also we are integrating the entire system with the multimodal shipment and your delivery hubs. So that sitting in your office, you'll be, you'll be relaxed and you can do a good trade. That's the strategy, Pravinji, we are following.
Thank you, sir. Coming to Chinmay ji, how do you look at, you have heard all your fellow panelists, so any further comment to?
So, the uniqueness of us in this particular context is we are distributors. So we sit between our principal suppliers and our customers. So we have the unique opportunity as well as responsibility to absorb a lot of shocks. And therefore, for us, supply chain resilience is probably a lot more critical. And this is how we do it. So resilience for us is diversification. We need to have diversification across almost every input of supply chain, whether it is multiple sources of supply, multiple transportation routes, multiple logistics partners. But more importantly, these options have to be operationalized every now and then. We can't, it's not enough to just keep them on paper. You need to keep them active. You need to be able to activate when needed. So, and that means we cannot focus on lean only supply chain. We have to balance it out with an operationalized, diversified supply chain. We need to maintain inventory which can sometimes go against a lean supply chain, but we need it to save ourselves and not be affected by any disruption. So that's how we really look at it. And the third thing is really the visibility of data. There are systems and systems are progressing day by day, and everyone has access to a lot of information, but how do we use that information even internally determines whether we can activate any of these diversification options. So have diversification, keep it operationalized, and use data to keep shuffling to maintain a resilient supply chain. That's how I would put it.
Now I reverse around and start with you, Chinmay ji. Despite the best of the plans that you all would have been doing, still the resilience and risk mitigation, cost escalation is to be balanced. So how easy or difficult, or what are the tools that you'd use to see that the resilience, irrespective of the geopolitical situation, irrespective of the climatic situation, irrespective of things happening in and around, that the supply chain becomes more resilient and risk mitigation happens as fast as possible so that we can keep the cost at par?
So rather than looking at whether it is easy or difficult, let's just say that it is a business imperative. It's a given. And if that means you have to take certain choices in the short term, you've got to do it. Because absence that, anyone who doesn't really have right diversification is surely likely to face some sort of, or carry some sort of an impact. So we maintain diversification on daily basis in our supply chain. We activate it, and that is also reflected sometimes in the business decision when it comes to the customer portfolio, supplier portfolio, etc. Geopolitical movements are really geopolitical bottlenecks or any sort of potential challenges in the world is when this resilience is tested. But even when it is not tested, you need to keep it diversified. So I think that's really the way to go.
Vishalji, is there any dashboard that you do have that you are able to monitor online? Okay, this is what the export is. This is where the problems are. And once you click on that, you are able to get a set of solutions. And then when you get a set of solutions, you automatically pick whatever will help you change the problem so that things become easy. Is there any sort of dashboard that you all are planning to create so that it becomes easy because you get data from everywhere? So now that dashboard should help you to take faster decision. In your case, it is exports. In their case, it is get the feedstock or to supply to the clients. So how are you moving in that direction? I'm talking more futuristic to make things easy for the delegates out here so that they understand supply chain in the best possible way.
Praveen, we are talking on the same line here. The thing is, we are, in fact, when we say we, that means the Ministry of DCPC, Chemexcil, Ministry of Commerce. Jointly, we are creating a national dashboard. The reason being is today the data is available. Export kitna hai, capacity kitna hai, kitna aur karna hai, global market trend kaisa hai, what is the market size and what is our share in that market. That data is available, but data is in the scattered form. Till date, we don't have anything which is just a click away kind of. Problem though we'll sort when we'll get the we'll get the correct data, because whatever we'll do, it should be data backed. It should not be in the thin air kind of. We are doing something. So what we are doing is we are creating a dashboard, a national dashboard, which will give you the required data in fraction of seconds, which will be AI enabled. But by say September, October, we'll get the first cut. We'll share it with you all as well. And also that dashboard will give you the market forecast for any particular market. If you talk about, if for example, Brazil में agrochemical कितना जाएगा, अभी market size क्या है, last 3 years में market कितना develop हुआ है, and what is our share in that market. I tell you, we were sitting in a meeting. I'll just give you a small example. So we were talking about a particular market which has a potential of 100 billion. And wherein our share was around, some 320 million or something. But our data was showing that we have, our market share, our share has increased by 70%. But that market has developed in last 3 years 10 folds. That means your share in that market has decreased, which nobody is noticing. So when we sit on this kind of analysis, we need real data. And data is available in the market, Praveen. Only thing is we have to collate all the data at one system and do it. And we are doing it.
Even Tejveer Singh, DCPC secretary, was talking that now I need data in 15 days' time from all the manufacturers. So once you get those data in 15 days' time, or every 15 days, the data needs to be uploaded. So once that data is uploaded, then things become easy for you, that okay, how things would be and where to plan or where to, what we can say, strategize.
See, I tell you, the data is available right now. When you fill that form with pollution control board, you give your capacity data to them. And when we export, so export portal, we have the export ka data as well. As I said, we need to, get the APIs, collect those dots, connect those dots, and get the data. The same thing I shared with the Secretary Saab as well.
So when do you see that dashboard becoming operational?
By September, October, max by October first week, we'll get the first cut.
So very, very encouraging response from Vishal ji that we would be having a dashboard, and that dashboard would be operational in September, October timeframe, which will help exports, chemical exports in a big way, and that will be very good for everybody, sir, which is an excellent information that you are giving to all of us. Now I come to Devarajan ji. सरकार ने तो डेटा वो डैशबोर्ड बना रहे हैं, आप लोग कब डेटा जो डैशबोर्ड बना रहे हैं या बना हुआ है?
So let me share with you an industry perspective on this topic. Yeah, and this is exactly what I meant, and I go back to my word, and I would like to give an example for that. Agility to adapt. What do I mean by this? Supply chain procurement professionals today would not be the ones in the future. If you look at the future, the skill set required to drive procurement supply chain professionals is not about having expertise and experience of multiple years of doing procurement and supply chain. The capability that would be required is how digital savvy you are. Do you bring digital mindset to the table? And when I say digital mindset, it's not about you having the affinity towards digital. Are you open to partner with digital technology companies to drive upstream supply chain data, which is fragmented across the ecosystems? And I'm not talking about a theory. There is 4 days back a fantastic product, service offering launched. And I'm not trying to endorse a brand here. I'm just trying to give you a fact to deliver this particular point. The very interesting fact that when I or my team wake up in the morning, we are talking about a manufacturing footprint in the Asia location of 15 plus manufacturing footprints spread across Asia. We are talking about doing supply chain risk management for 1,000 plus raw materials coming across 300 supplier partners, and imagine the uncertainty with their tier 1, tier 2 supply chain ecosystem. As an individual, you're not going to have control over it. You need to embrace how digital technologies can support you in that particular drive of driving supply chain risk mitigation. And this is exactly where partnership with digital technology companies come in play. Recently, there is a very interesting product in the market, and it's called Bero Max. There is this Indian entrepreneur-led international market research company called Bero, who have partnered with A.T. Kearney to launch a product called Bero Max. What is Bero Max? It's a culmination of fragmented data being married between enterprise data, internet data, crawling technologies, which brings you back any kind of uncertainty across your supply chain. So for example, when we had a particular disruption because of the war in West Asia, you had no clue as a sourcer or a category manager that one of your raw materials has got stuck not in India, but somewhere out there in the Middle East, and you have no clue of that because that's not in the enterprise data. Because it's going to come into your data only when you're going to post a GRN. How do you get to know that there is a particular consignment stuck in the port and you need to react to it today? Either you have to go back and reallocate the supply planning, or you have to revisit your demand planning because you're not going to get this particular material. Are you able to react on a real time? And this is exactly the question, Praveen. What I'm trying to share here is the agility to adapt and look at partnerships where expertise comes in between technology and the manufacturing footprint is going to be the key. And these are the kind of examples. So the answer is not about a dashboard. Dashboard is an outcome. The answer is about how do you navigate this use case. And to navigate the use case, you need to embrace partnering with technology partners out there who come with technological solutions but have no clue of the use case or the problem statement. And the problem statement comes from we as customers towards those organizations. So that is my perspective of looking at it. The question is, do we have that ready right now and everything is working fine? Answer is no. But as you know, technological innovations have accelerated progression in these days. So I would definitely see from a 1-year horizon, these kind of information would be easily accessible.
No, I think very well explained. When I was interviewing Cisco John Chambers, so he used to say that I can see the complete data on my dashboard, and irrespective of the location, I'm able to know what is my profit and loss on a particular day, and accordingly plan well in advance. Unless and until these data is not accumulated at one place, it becomes extremely difficult to fight these, what we can say, these unexpected geopolitical situations, which anybody can't do manually, whatever the best of the brains that they do have. So Anandji, your thoughts on how you are utilizing these digital technologies to better, because you talked about 100 locations. You recently tied up with Aditya Birla to set up a new factory in Gujarat. So your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, so I think well said. I think going forward, the competitive advantage for any industry is that how fast they can reach to customer, how efficiently they can provide product to the customer, and that comes to the point where the localization, how you are localized in that particular country, that particular place. We spoke about the lead times, how small your lead time is as compared to the competitor. The second is that how technology savvy you are to provide that information to customer wherever it is required, because you can't be 100% localized all the time. So, and at our end, Lubrizol, we are investing a lot on many areas, and it's not about only about serving customer. It's about the risk mitigation, and that can be it can be a regulatory risk, trade compliance risk. It can be any other risk within the organization which needs to be mitigated. And the technology digitization is the only solution where we can move forward. And we are quite behind right now in overall. I don't know about the figures about the Indian industry, but there are typical way of operations, like the order is coming, someone is there who is punching the order, then it will have 10 touch points within the system to make sure that the product is delivered. I think that auto order entry, that auto movement of the product to the customer, that will define how we are responding to customer, and we are investing heavily on that to make us future ready, not only responding to customer, but also bringing that resilience to the organization for a long-term sustainability and being ahead of the competitors or closer to customer all the time.
Raviji, your company has been utilizing technology in a big way in all aspects. It is the role model for Geo as a role model. So how do you see new technologies coming into picture which will help us in terms of making the supply chain more resilient, more, what we can say, putting the cost at par, not increasing the cost, and also helping your clients, which is the last leg?
My fellow panelists already covered the dashboard aspect. So I think, yes, that's the way every company is looking at it. And we in Reliance also, we have an in-house arm of Geo platforms. And many of our solutions are homegrown. So basically the crux of the dashboard is it should be having a capability to digest and dissect and analyze and deliver structured as well as unstructured data. So you may have data coming up in multiple sources. So how you are able to analyze everything and then give it to the various stakeholders so that they are able to take meaningful decisions. Like one thing which I want to talk about is specifically about like in the entire supply chain value stream, how the vehicle tracking systems and the ADAS systems, which are a big game changer when it comes to the transportation safety and also visibility in the value chain. Today, thanks to these technologies which are really matured, we are able to operate large control towers which are able to give real-time visibility to all stakeholders. It also helps us to plan better, to help our customers plan better. And also one important aspect of this visibility is how do I manage emergency response, especially in the Indian context, when emergency response is something which is not very really, I'll say, matured. This technology really comes to handy. So if you have a well-designed ecosystem with the help of technology, like to talk of especially hazardous cargo transportation, if you have a proper control room which is monitoring each and every hazardous cargo on the road, which is real-time monitoring violations that's happening, and also taking corrective actions. And also it has a capability to ensure that you get alerts on a real-time basis about anything going wrong. Then you are in a better position to respond to hazards. And the emergency response can be much faster. So we have deployed those things in our systems, and we are really seeing some very, very encouraging results. And in fact, now some of the things which we had implemented is even the industry has adopted. There is an initiative which many of the chemical companies may be aware called Nicer Globe. And Nicer Globe is like, I'm happy to say that they have actually partnered with the initial setup we had put up, and now it's actually serving the entire industry. So that's what I want to talk about.
Mitesh, you take care of both two portfolios. One is specialty, another is supply chain. So how are you planning to merge the two so that it benefits Aarti Industries?
I think just to clarify, right, maybe supply chain is something I've done since I joined Aarti 10 years now. So I've grown in that role and today continue to manage it as a function, but of course, there's a team which executes. The business responsibility is probably 3 years old, more recent. But I think what we acknowledge now, and especially in the industry that we operate, which is intermediates, supply chain is, I think, extremely crucial and interlinked to business success. So, everything that happens as a disruption or everything that happens as a change on the supply side, how fast are we able to pass it on to the customers, and while maintaining reliability, while maintaining, consistency is what can give us success. So I think that's where coming to data, right? Dashboards have become a baseline. Data availability and visibility is actually something that we already recognized and have implemented. And that is available. We've democratized data. So whether it is all kinds of data that are necessary to take decisions are available to all levels of team members. So unless something is marked extremely confidential, we just ensure data-wise there is no, non-availability to people. So everything is available. Raw material price data is available to each member of the sales team. Product cost data on a daily basis is updated and available to the sales team, and vice versa for the procurement team. What is happening to global commodities via subscriptions with large data providers, they have access to all the information on what's going on. The next level is automation. So while data is available and dashboards are available, there is still that resistance in terms of opening a dashboard and trying to analyze. We've also done that. So every day in my mailbox, I get reports in terms of whatever I have customized, marked red, amber, green. So I know in the morning what are the 5-10 things that I need to focus on, what are red. The green and the amber ones, are anyways going to be taken care of by somebody else. So automation is what is probably recent and what we also already have. So each team member sort of gets a summary of what happened yesterday and what to work on. I think what we are working on this year is probably how do we leverage AI. It's a buzzword. Again, what we've done is sort of the enterprise AI version we've made available to all employees in the organization. Where it is already successful is how I now see maybe younger employees, people who spend 6 months, 1 to 3 years in the company, they are able to debate with the AI. So rather than needing somebody to guide them and sort of, get to a solution, the first level work they're able to do with AI in terms of, discussing various scenarios, and the output that they bring the first time is much more mature than what used to happen several years ago. So at an individual level, AI is definitely helping improve productivity and improve the quality of outcomes. Now, how do we sort of also integrate using AI, all these various data sources that we have, external, internal, and spend much more time on scenario analysis is the problem statement that we are working on. How do we enable, each team member the ability to analyze various scenarios, think about what all outcomes or comparable outcomes that are there, or some recommendations that can come, and eventually implement it. So how do we sort of crash the layers in decision making is what we are trying to do with AI this year.
Thank you, Mitesh ji. Roma ji, majority of them are large companies out here. You are a small company, so doing digitization becomes extremely difficult because of budget constraints and manpower constraints.
Very rightly said.
But you will also have to manage the same way. Otherwise, slowly, some bigger company will eat you up. So, what is your strategy for smaller companies, and what should you follow so that whenever there is a supply chain problem, you do not get affected and your operations move as per plan, you deliver to the customer as per plan, and finally, both the top line and the bottom line gets a boost.
Very rightly said. So supply chain is, of course, end-to-end service from suppliers to the customers. Through digitization, it becomes very cost competitive, and finally you want the market access and, of course, customer trust. That is what we are doing. And it need not be very, very cost expensive also, but we do a lot of things on ERP. Then from moving from the spreadsheet to the ERPs, we have on our mobile phones all dashboards. Then we train our people. So I believe in leadership more than, I have a different perspective all these things, that leadership matters a lot, being agility to adapt, even the mindset, but it comes from the leader down the cascade, down the team, then only it becomes very effective. That is what I believe. So train your people, knowledge management, all these things need to be digitalized. Predictive analysis, we are into metals procuring, so predictive analysis, seasonal demand, all these things if you track, then it will be really helpful in procurement. And also real-time tracking of vessels and all these things, small things will really matter a lot. And of course, the next thing is the inventory management, like with barcoding and all these things. You can see what inventory you have, and all these things will be very useful for us small companies to build trust and give the services to our big clients. So, and of course we have other tools like management tools like business model canvas, and people management like business scorecards and all things also AI helped, so we can track all these in a better way. Thank you.
So thank you, Roma ma'am. I have tried 2 rounds. One was the crisis, and the second was how to deal with the crisis and make your supply chain resilient. So I am through with my part. A big round of applause to all our panelists.